Wow, what a difference a couple weeks makes. I mean, Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, all these things have been on an absolute frickin' tear lately. And it's been super exciting to watch after very dormant. Well, I shouldn't say dormant. There's been a lot of activity either direction. But today, I am super stoked. I've been gone for a little bit because I've had a lot going on in my real world. Not that the Bitcoin and the cryptos aren't the real world, but I mean, come on. This has been an absolute freaking, it's so exciting the last couple of days to watch Bitcoin and all these cryptos just crush it and just shoot up like it is meant to do. And, you know, there's a ton of, I mean, every day there's new news out about, you know, Brad Garlinghouse is talking in front of, a banking and Senate hearing, you know, getting a banking license, partnering with Bank of New York Mellon or BNY or whatever it's called, and all these exciting things going on with XRP. Bitcoin, more and more countries, companies are stockpiling their Bitcoin. I mean, they just came out that Eazybot now has, or I should say BlackRock has around 700,000 Bitcoin. MicroStrategy continues to crush it. They have like 70 billion or something like that of Bitcoin. You know, El Salvador's not looking so dumb now anymore, are they? Bukele's really, I mean, they've turned that country into a Bitcoin stronghold. I mean, they probably have $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And in the U.S. eyes, that's nothing. But for a country like El Salvador, that means a huge difference. And the things they're doing is just amazing. So all of this leads to one direction, is that the reason we're in crypto is because it is going to change the traditional finance system. We got into Bitcoin because of all the money printing that happened, and we said we want something that appreciates, not depreciates. So we got into Bitcoin, and you know, I wish I got into it sooner. I'm a later, like a 2020 type adopter, but still, I'm glad I've stayed in it because, you know, I just see the uses of Bitcoin just continue to skyrocket. And here's what my theory is right now that I will tell you. And this is not really a theory. This is what's happening. We're $37 trillion in debt in this country. $37 trillion. The only way to get out of that, in my opinion, is twofold. Either one, massive money printing to put us more into debt that makes that 37 trillion irrelevant because it's worth so little in today's dollars, or war. There's one of the two ways. That's historically speaking, this is how we get out of debt. We either print our way out of debt somehow. It doesn't really work that way. Or we go to war. Now, hopefully war is not on the table. We've seen nothing but tensions go away through, you know, peace through strength. But I will tell you right now, the money printer is going to print. And the fact that we've seen Bitcoin and XRP and Solana and Ethereum just pump without the printers being fully turned on, it almost scares me to think what's going to happen when the Fed says we're dropping the rate. Markets are going to boom. We've seen record numbers in S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow are all at record numbers, record highs. And to think that it could go significantly higher, you know, it just says the next 3 to 5 years, depending, are going to pump. Now, I am a little fearful of what's going to happen after the money printing happens, but that's for future Crypto Joe and future crypto enthusiasts to really worry about, because that is going to be an ugly time. I potentially the hangover after this party is going to be ugly. So what's my theory is make as much money as I can in the next 3 to maybe 5 years, maybe when that money printer, whoa, look at the shaking. When that money printer slows down and we have to clean up after the party, it's going to get ugly. But let me show you a few things. Let's start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is, this is Bitcoin over the last, 2 years, maybe a year and a half. And we've been kind of trading in this range, right? Go up, down, up. And we have a lot of room to run. Even with this current run up, we have a lot of room to run to hit the top of this range. Let me move my head, put it over here. Woo. All right. So look, we still have, if we are range trading, and this is trading on an ascending, this shows that we got a lot of room to run potentially. A lot of room to run potentially up. Now, the downside starts to get a little more limited unless something crazy happens. But, you know, that's not guaranteed, not financial advice. Doing your own research, not a financial advisor. I'm just showing you things that I'm doing and all these things. But look, this upside potential is very, very positive. And we seem to be on the upper half of it. Now, again, we will keep ranging like this until it even breaks out of this one. which is the 140, 150 range, depending on when we hit that. And if it goes through there, I mean, then you're looking at an extreme breakout that we haven't really seen in a very long time. So right now, I'm looking at a potential in this cycle. I mean, in this range to go up to the 130, 140 range. We've busted through the 116, which was a ceiling of resistance. And we also have another one coming up here not too far away. So all in all, Bitcoin is just doing what it's supposed to do. The dominance, though, this is the really crazy thing. Bitcoin dominance continues to rise. And yet some of the alts are pumping. So we're not really in altcoin season. But look at this. Bitcoin's at almost 64% dominance. Ethereum's gone up too. And the others have gone down. So you can't just throw a dart, hit a coin, and make $1 million anymore. You have to be very strategic. I'm pretty much, 95% of my holdings are Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Those are the 5 that I've chosen. I'm not saying you have to choose those. Those are the ones I've chosen to really pay attention to. And it's done pretty well for me. But if you look at the fear and greed index, we're not even in extreme greed right now. People are still somewhat fearful. We've gone up significantly since the Iran crisis a couple weeks ago, and that was a great buy. Turned out to be an incredible buying opportunity. So I hope you took advantage of that. But we're still going up in the fear and greed meter, but we're still relatively low compared to where it can be, where it gets super, super frothy. I get fearful when it gets super greedy. We had it back in November. We were at an 88 rating in this chart, as you can see down here. So still going there. The ETFs, the ETFs just continue to crush it. Look at this. On 7/9, which was, I think that was Tuesday or Wednesday. Look at the inflows. Almost $1.4 billion of inflows. $1.4 billion of inflows. Yesterday, $1,383,000,000. No, I'm sorry. On the 9th, $1.5 billion of inflows. So just still look at all these positive days. Very few. One negative day on this whole, the last 30 days. One negative day of so the institutions can't get enough. They're insatiable. And if you look at what's being produced, as far as new Bitcoin a day versus what's being sold, there's a huge discrepancy there. This was bound to happen. This little short squeeze that turned into a rally, this was bound to happen. So, a couple of things I'm doing, I have a couple trades on. I showed you this Solana trade I did a couple weeks back. I keep adding to that because I still think we have room to run. I have Solana. It looks like I got in around, I think it was at like 138 or 128, and I've added a little bit. I've doubled my position since then. I'm up about 100% on that trade, and I'm still holding strong on that one. I have a bunch of other ones that these are represented here. I have a Bitcoin 100x long I put on this morning just for the fun of it to keep things interesting today. I've got a SUI trade that's up 34%. I've got an Ethereum trade that's up 30%. I've got an Ondo trade that's up 159%. And I've got an XRP trade that I opened at 219. I've added to it. My average holding is about 234 now. As I'm kind of riding it up, I'm going to start selling when I get around the $3 mark. These are small money, higher leverage trades. They are very risky. I'm not telling you to go out and do this. If you do, I have a link down to BTCC below. That's an affiliate link. I do make money, but it doesn't cost you any money if you do sign up under my affiliate link. I'm not asking you to, but if you're interested in trading and you know what you're doing, take a look at BTCC. That's who I use. I really don't use any other ones. I've looked at lots of other ones. This is the one I keep coming back to. I've used it for probably a year and a half now. So anyway, I'm seeing success in these. When am I going to take a profit? If these went back down to zero, it wouldn't be the end of my life. It would not be terrible. So this is money I'm willing to lose it all. I'm willing to lose all the money I've put into this. It's kind of like going to the casino. I walk in with exactly as much as I want to lose. I don't go to the ATM. I don't put more money in. When I'm done with that money, I'm done. But I look for higher leverage. I'm talking about 10 to 15x. I have my SUI's at 15, my Ethereum's at 10x, my Ondo's at 12x, my XRP's at 15x. My Bitcoin, that's a day trade. I will be out of that trade before the end of the day. That's 100x. That's for fun. That is for fun. I do have a stop loss on that. As you can see here, my stop loss is around 117.5. We're kind of flirting with that. I opened it up when I saw a decent opportunity. I was wrong. It went lower. And that does happen on these 100x leverage trades. But at the end of the day, if I get out of here at a $30 or $40 loss, big deal. I'm looking for a bigger gain. So we are certainly in interesting times. You have Bitcoin ripping the last couple of days. Went from like 98, and a couple of weeks later, we're at almost 120. You have XRP going from lower twos, 205, 197 during the Iran nonsense, to like 265 today. You have Solana going up to 164, and the ETF still hasn't even been approved for Solana. I think there's one approval for like a one that allows staking. I think it's called SKK or SSK, not sure. But the spot ETF for Solana still isn't approved. It's running. Ethereum, you see huge news like Tom Lee's being part of a company that sold their Bitcoin holdings to buy a bunch of Ethereum and do what Strategy did with Bitcoin for Ethereum. This is not a crazy world we're living in right now. New laws, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, all being talked about right now, trying to be pushed through August. We'll see what happens, but a lot going on. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button now. Like, share, do all those things, and I will see you next time.